Hi, everyone. Welcome to Verified First and Volgistics Background Screening Buyer's Guide. My name is Eliana Robinson, and I will be your host today. I'm going to go ahead and begin sharing my screen here today. Thank you all for taking the time to meet with us today. We're very grateful for that. So yeah, now that we are all here, let's get started. My name is Eliana Robinson, and I'm going to be your host today. Alongside me, I have Tim Long. Tim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Tim. I'm on the support team here at Volgistics. Um, so I answer a lot of customer questions. I also write some of the help documentation. I make video content, and I get to host free training sessions and demos and things like that. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you so much. And thank
Yeah,
you very much for inviting us to be part of your session today.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, for sure. So before we begin, I'm going to start with a quick poll question with you guys. So feel free to use the chat to put in your answers. So the question today is, what areas of technology are you looking to adopt or replace within the next 3 months? And you can select all that apply. So A would be volunteer management system, B, background screening, e-giving or fundraising, or D, none. And you can go ahead and put them right into the chat. Tim, what do you think what do you think is going to be the biggest answer today?
Well, considering we're doing a session on background screening, I think that would be a popular answer. Um, but the for the second one, I would probably say the giving or fundraising. Those tend to be a pretty good target for getting new software. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see those being pretty big as well, especially in the volunteer space. Yeah, and of course, if background screening is something everyone's interested in, we're going to talk a lot about how that's a great opportunity, how to really look into it and buy it. So, yeah, really looking forward to everyone's answers today. So we'll give everyone just a few more minutes to answer the question today. And yeah, if there's more than one or anything else you guys think of, feel free to add that in the chat as well. Awesome. Awesome. Great. So let's take a look. We have um, a lot of different ones. We have some Bs, we have some Ds as well. So there's a mix there.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. Tim, what do you think of the results?
Uh, yeah. I'm a little surprised not to see the giving and fundraiser higher in the list, but having the background screening being the most popular answer there is about what I expected.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's take a look um, at our event today. So we're going to get started now. So for today we're going to cover some research from our 2023 background screening buyer's guide with aptitude research and how we can help you with your screening practices. So we worked with industry leading analyst Madeline Lorano, co-founder of Aptitude Research, to understand the current and future trends of background screening and how it can impact your organization. So in recent years, there's been a big increase in prioritizing how we find and welcome new hires and volunteers, because these early steps are often the first time a candidate or volunteer interacts with an organization. So the tools and methods we use at this stage are very important. They create a candidate's first impression of your organization. So to attract the best talent, it's important to stand out, not just from potential hires and volunteers, but also among companies trying to recruit them. So having a strong onboarding process is key. If we don't onboard well, we risk losing our hires, our new hires within the first 90 days. So that's why it's so crucial to focus on making these early stages as effective as possible. Tim, what are your thoughts on these findings?
Um, you know, I don't think I have much insight on this one, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Always like to just kind of bring it over to you as well. So
Yeah.
let's dig deeper into what these findings are. So we see the reason or the drive behind the TA priorities with consolidating being the number one. So for yet another year, we're seeing that integrating and aligning TA tech solutions as a key finding for the TA Tech Buyer's Guide. So that's not a surprise to me. I did just go over to the SHRM conference last week, spoke to a lot of people in the HR space. And this is something that they did bring up, is making sure that we are able to consolidate a lot of the software together. Seemed to be a big thing that stood out to me when I spoke to them, for sure. So let's move into key trends. So in our research, we found that over 80% of organizations, including nonprofits, use a background screening provider. And honestly, this wasn't the biggest shocker. We all know the role of background screening and how it can play in keeping our offices and our mission centers safe. And last year's data showed that while over 80% of organizations use a background screening provider, 39% aren't screening for every position. And this leaves various roles and individuals at risk. And on top of that, a little over 75% of HR and TA leaders feel like they are confident they get senior support for screening. So it turns out the value of screening isn't as obvious as initially expected. So we could go on to prove the value of background screening, but let's be a little more practical. I want to shift gears and talk about the how to get started or help your clients get started with screening. So according to Madeline of Aptitude Research, it's important to start with an internal needs analysis. By understanding your organization's needs, you can start with how much time it takes to achieve your current goals with your current resources, and then move on to how well other companies are achieving their goals today. And last, measuring the ROI. Not measuring the ROI on background screening or a screening provider's platform is one of the biggest errors organizations make today in their screening process. So I would say this again, and if you guys are going to take anything away today, is really measuring the ROI being extremely important when you're making a decision with background screening. So despite only 50% of the organizations measuring the ROI of their investment, the true challenge revealed in this year's research was the challenge of integrations. So there are tons of volunteer platforms out there, and having them integrate with your screening solution seems to be key. Tim, what are your thoughts on that finding?
Um, so it's the integration that seems to be key, right? So
Yes.
um, yeah, having a way to connect, different data platforms together um, really is what makes it easier to measure a lot of different things. And so it makes sense that that's important for finding the ROI on your background screening solutions. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, for sure. And then just keeping track of that all in one place seems to be really helpful as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's take a look at the considerations. So with that challenge in mind, we're going to discuss 3 considerations that will help you, your organizations, and your clients evaluate or adapt screening solutions. So first, identifying the requirements and communicating them to a vendor. So do you need certain integrations or screens or maybe client care? So one thing I heard a lot in my conference as well was client care being very important. So making sure that you are able to have that provider follow up with you on those background screenings on time for your events. So whatever you need, definitely identify it and communicate that in your first meeting with your background screening provider that you're looking at. They're supposed to be there with you every step of the way. Second, invest in a partner. Don't look for another screening solution or a provider. Look for someone that's going to partner with you and assist you every step of the way. And last, build a comprehensive plan. So that means ask all the questions, loop in necessary stakeholders, and come up with a reevaluation plan. If you select a partner instead of a provider, you should have some support to make it happen without eating all of your resources. Awesome. So if you leave with anything today's presentation, let it be that background screening should be more of a strategic initiative and not a tactical activity. You and your organization should see it more as just not just a task to check off, but something that should be part of your strategy for your business. At least that's what we have found in our research. So now what I'm going to do is kind of show you what we have available for Volgistics and Verified First. And I'm going to show you guys a quick demo of what that looks like. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. Great. Are you able to see my screen, Tim?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. So when you sign up with Verified First, you will have a username and password to log in. Once you log in, you can use any web browser to download our extension. I'm going to use Chrome as our example today. So you would just type in Verified First in the search, and it should pop right up where you're going to be able to download the Chrome extension. Once that extension is downloaded onto your computer, you can go back to your Volgistics site and you should be able to take a look. You should be able to see the button within the Volgistics platform. Tim, are you able to see my Volgistics platform there?
Yep.
Awesome. Great. So once that's downloaded, then you should be able to see the button here. You would be able to log in with your username and password. So I'm going to enter that in here and just copy my username and my password. Now, you don't have to do this every time you log in, just a few times a couple weeks, or if it's just not being used, you will have to log back in. But that should be an easy way to log right in. So you will also get an MFA code as well to your email. So you want to make sure that you do check your email for that MFA code. And once you have that, you should be able to log into your Verified First platform. So I'm just going to go in here real quick and grab that. There it is. So go right there, copy that, and go right back in and put it in. Great. So now that I'm logged in, you are going to be able to see the button. And it's right there with your Volgistics platform. You would click on, you can hover over the button, click place new order. And the information that you entered in on the right-hand side there is going to transfer over to the Verified First overlay, which is really nice. So you see that we have the first name, the last name in there, and the middle name. So you know that that information is correct and it's all there. If you do feel that maybe this is incorrect, oh, I entered it in wrong, you do have the option to make changes on here. So you can make that change before you place your order. Or if there's any information that you might have missed, you do have the option to make changes. You can also create any owners. So if you do have maybe like volunteers that you typically do screen for that are, always there with you, you can always set them up here. You could also set up packages. So if you don't want to click on every one of these screens every time you have to screen, you are welcome to set up your packages. And we do have an onboarding team that will assist you with that as well. So there are different options there to make choices. So you can go ahead and just click on the screens that you want to screen. So for this example, I'll just go down and yep, I have some selections done here. So I'm going to go ahead and send my invite now. So when I click invite, I could either place an auto order or a manual order. I'm going to place a manual order for this. What that means is an auto order will automatically place the order for your candidate or your volunteer. A manual order would then go back to you for approval just to make sure that that information is correct. So I'm going to click next. And then here it's going to ask me whether I want to send it as an email or a text message. So your clients can get, your candidates or volunteers can get a text message sent to their phone with a link. Once they click on that link, they would be able to fill out all that information that they need in order to get that approved. Or they can send it as an email. So I'm going to go ahead and send it off. And once that gets sent, you'll see that the button has changed. So our button now says waiting on applicant, which is really nice because if you do have volunteers that you do want to screen for and you need to know where those processes are, you can do that all within Volgistics. So at this point, we know that we are waiting on that applicant to finish filling out their information and approving the background screening. And you could see that you are able to kind of see what different stages we have within the portal. Once that report is completed, that button will then change to report completed. So you know that that process has been completed. But you can always go here as well and take a look at the different types of candidates that you have screened and which ones have been completed and which ones have not. So that's a pretty much of a general overview of what that looks like. What does a streamlined process look like? An integration with an extension that's free. That's something that we do have and we do value, as well as an onboarding as well, to make sure that you do have a candidate there that would be able to assist you, a person that would be able to assist you every step of the way. Tim, any thoughts on the integration with Verified First Volgistics?
I've always liked that integration. I think it works really well. And I just like how you can see the whole report inside Volgistics without having to switch over to the Verified First portal. Makes it easier to see what you need to see.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And it's so easy to download and use. That's one of my favorite things. If you do have people in the office that you want to train, it is so simple to pick it up and just start using it. Awesome. Well, great. I'm going to go back here just to connect and how we can work together. If you guys are interested in learning more about Verified First and how we work and how Volgistics and Verified First works together, you can always connect with us at partner@verifiedfirst.com or at Volgistics, team@volgistics.com. And we would be more than happy to assist you. So now I'm going to take a look at the questions today. If you guys have any questions for us or want to learn more, we can definitely do that. So first question, what do you consider to be the ROI? That's a great question. What do I consider to be the ROI? It's going to depend on your business, right? What I would recommend is definitely creating a plan on how you guys want to how much money you want to spend on background screening. What we have found, there's a lot of mistakes that could happen. A lot of people could maybe run screens twice, or they could be getting information that's incorrect. So you want to make sure that the provider that you're using and the background screening that you have right now does give you accurate information and does make it does have an easy way if you do make a mistake or if something happens that you would be able to get fix that mistake without spending money on it. Is one thing that we found, especially with I-9s and e-verifies, that seems to be a big thing. But then verifications as well. Next question here. How much does the typical screening cost? That's a great question. We get that asked all the time. Our typical cost, it's going to depend on what you want to screen for. But what we typically say, it's somewhere between $20 to $35. And that's a lot of screens that are included in that. What we recommend is we do a la carte pricing. So we don't charge monthly fees and we don't charge annual fees, which is really nice for volunteers. So if you're only doing 2 to 3 projects, we're only going to charge you for the ones that you need to screen for and not for packages. Because we want to make sure that what you need to screen for is accurate and it's needed for that event. So that's typically where we are when we say pricing, but we always recommend for you to just meet with somebody and tell them exactly what you need. And we're always very competitive in cost. So the next question is it possible to bulk order background checks using Verified First? Sometimes we have to order a very large amount of the same types of background checks. Our current provider lets us order for a group using a spreadsheet that we upload. Absolutely. Yep, we can definitely do bulk orders. It's something we do on a regular basis. And yep, we are able to do that. Is this HIPAA compliant? Yes. Yes, we are. We have a lot of different types of, lots of accreditations that I can send over to you. We do make sure that everybody on our team as well is tested yearly. And we do have a lot of different types of rewards and things like that that I'll have to send over to you guys so that you guys can take a look after this call. Awesome. Any other questions? I'm seeing those on the Q&A. Nothing in the chat here. Awesome. Well, if that's all we have for today, that's all I have. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Don't want to take up too much of your time. Well, we appreciate it. And yeah, we look forward to speaking. Oh, I think we've got another. Yep, that's it. Thank you all. Thank you, Tim, for having us on your call today as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for presenting. I really appreciate the information you shared. So thank you.
Yep. And we'll go ahead and send a recording after this call. And if you guys can just stick around for the survey question at the end as well, we always want to hear feedback on how things went. And we look forward to hearing from you guys in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Bye-bye.